Hey, Ski Moms, mark your calendars. The legendary Ski House, NOTB, and Patio Place tent sale is back. It's this August in Woburn, Massachusetts, and Salem, New Hampshire. Expect deep discounts up to 60% off on skis, snowboards, boots, bindings, and more. It's the perfect chance to upgrade your gear without breaking the bank. Plus, you can shop the gorgeous floor samples from the Patio Place collection of outdoor furniture, umbrellas, and accessories. It's the perfect time to get your family outfitted for the upcoming ski season and maybe even treat yourself to a backyard upgrade. From August 8th through the 10th, shop Woburn, and from August 21st through the 24th, shop Salem. Head to skihouse.com, that's SKIHAUS.com, on the events page to check the exact sale hours and get directions. And we'll see you under the tent. Welcome back to the Ski Moms podcast. It's season 5 and we're hitting the slopes. We're sharing real, unfiltered stories of motherhood on the snow. From conquering the bunny hill with toddlers to squeezing in your own powder days, this season celebrates every type of ski mom. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great season lined up, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. The Ski Moms are so excited to be joined today by Hollie Nicholson. She is a personal trainer and the creator of the Strong Training Methods. Hollie has over 16 years as a fitness professional, and she has a passion for skiing, which we share. She helps women build strength for real-life adventures from the gym to the slopes. Welcome to the show, Hollie.
Thank you. So excited to be here. And that almost makes me teary-eyed just because that really feels like my life's work.
Well, we'll get into this in a minute, but I was out spring skiing and had a little fall. And at age 54, I do think it's like the time in the gym that helped. Now, I can't prevent every injury, but in the video, you see this little sad mitten tumbling in the distance. But I feel like the mitten took the hit more than I did. So I really believe in fitness training.
Yes. Awesome. Love that. Love that.
Okay, so let's jump in and talk about your background story. Where did you learn to ski? How did you fall in love with sports and skiing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Indiana. I live just north of Indianapolis. So when we ski all the time and we meet people on the slopes, they're like, "You're a flatlander. Where do you ski?" So I actually grew up in northern Indiana, and there was a little ski hill, tiny, tiny ski hill, just super close to my house. And my parents took me skiing for the first time when I was 4. And then it was very sporadic, it wasn't a lot. And then when I got in high school, they took us every New Year's Eve only. That was the only time I skied between Christmas Eve and New Year's. They took us to a mountain called Boyne Mountain up in Michigan, which is now on the Icon Pass. And that's kind of where I, just loved skiing. And my mom always jokes but it's true. She took us there to do that over New Year's Eve when we were in high school so that we wouldn't ask to go out and drink on New Year's Eve with our friends. And it worked. My best friend would come along and I just fell in love with the atmosphere of skiing. Fast forward, my parents never really had the means to take me out west. And fast forward, and I was newly married, and my husband did not ski. I loved skiing. He went to Michigan one time with us. He wasn't very good, and he had a job that had these ski workshops where they would go into meetings from 7 to 10 in the morning, my kind of job, right? And they would go into meetings, and then after that, they would be on the slopes from, 10 to 3, and then there would be dinners. And at the time, they allowed spouses to go. So I was like, sign me up. Come on, I'm gonna go. And that's how he learned to ski as, an adult, which is very hard, I feel like. And then from there, it was kind of as long as we can just keep going out west. And going out west to ski is really where I just really fell in love with it because I just love the mountains.
And where do you like to go out west?
Oh, everybody asks me that, Sarah, and I don't have a favorite. That's part of the fun for me in skiing is exploring new mountains. And, there's like little bits and pieces that I love about everywhere. Like Copper has my heart because that's where we took our kids for the first time out west. And it's such a mountain friendly or a kid friendly mountain. And my kids can just go and I feel confident in them. Like, okay, we're running on this lift. I'll meet you back. I love the town of Telluride. It's like mountain town. Love it. I skied Lake Tahoe this winter for the first time. And I mean, you go get off that lift chair and you come through the woods, and you see the lake and it's like the most outstanding views. So I mean, there's so many places that I love. And that's for me, that's the fun of skiing is you just get to like explore these different places. And my husband and I always say, one of these days we're gonna find like our mountain and that's gonna be our mountain. And maybe someday we'll have a home there, but we haven't found it. Like because for me, I'm like the thought of going to the same place every single time to ski. I'm like, the fun is trying new places.
I love that sense of discovery that visiting new places brings you. I feel so in the moment when we do travel. Sarah and I get to travel for work and see new ski areas. And it does light up different parts of your brain when you're skiing something or experiencing something for the first time. Well, we have you as a guest because we want to talk about getting strong so we can keep skiing into, our years when the kids are up and independent. What brought you into the fitness industry? And tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so I'm actually a former teacher and school administrator. Crazy, right? And I was a stay-at-home mom for a really long time. And I just kind of taught group fitness classes on the side, did a little personal training on the side. And then 2020 hit, and we all know what happened during COVID. And my kids were really young, and I was in the house with them all the time. And my husband had just started a new job where he was their first ever remote employee. But since our kids were really, really little, we rented office space. So our life it just kind of, besides our kids not going to school, it was normal. And I had two boys that were in preschool. So I decided that I was going to offer a Zoom workout once a week on Zoom in 2020. And I had hundreds of women show up for these like free Zoom workouts. And when the gyms opened back up, I was like, okay, y'all, I'm going to go back to my very own way, teaching a few fitness classes during the week at the local gym. And y'all need to go back to your gym as well. I'm done. I have, kids to clearly teach and all this stuff to do. And nobody wanted to go back to the gym. And actually, a lot of these women, I focused on strength training. And a lot of these women had never strength trained before. They were super duper intimidated by going to the gym and strength training. They didn't know what to do when they got there. So they all asked me, they're like, well, would you consider doing a plan? And I was like, sure. So I did it for 8 weeks and I had like 40 people sign up. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Again, once the 8 weeks was done, I was like, see y'all later. Go back to the gym. And again, nobody was wanting to go back to the gym. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And we were at a point in our family's life that, my two older ones were in school full time and my youngest was in his last year of preschool. And I looked at my husband and I said, our intention was for me to go back to work as a principal once all of my kids were in school, but let's see if we can make this work. And I don't really do anything half-ass, excuse my language, but I don't. So I was like, I'm going all in and let's see what happens. And so Strong, my business, my training method, will celebrate 5 years in June, which is absolutely incredible. And we have grown from 40 members that first session in 2020 to over 300.
And tell us more about what the Strong offering looks like.
Yeah, for sure. So it's an 8-week session. I run 8-week sessions at a time. Once people have a session, then they're like, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. So then they kind of roll into my VIP membership. And whether you're a VIP or if you do session by session, it is 5 workouts per week and they're all uploaded to my app. And they're all strength training workouts. So we do 2 upper bodies, 2 lower bodies, and then a core cardio day. included. And the difference is you're not just logging into the app and completing a workout. So I actually do these workouts live with my members at 5:45 a.m. on Zoom still, because that was like the part that made my business back in COVID. And of course, not all over 300 members want to be on live. Mornings aren't their jam. And so that is then recorded and uploaded into the app. So you have three options to complete your strong workout. You can do it live with me on Zoom. You can follow the app just where the exercises are there with demo videos, or you can do the recording. And so I coach nutrition. I coach, really just lifestyle, habit, and behavior change to use fitness as a vehicle to live your very best life. Yes, we're changing our bodies, we're losing fat, we're doing all those things, but it really is more of a lifestyle change so that we can live long and do the things that we want to do with ease. And we can get up from a fall, whether it be a fun fall or an accidental fall, and we can recover really, really well by doing it.
And women have sadly focused too much on the scale and what measurements they have or what size jeans they fit into. I'm so heartened and inspired to see this shift into calling ourselves strong and, looking at a success as how much weight I can lift or, how I survived a fall. Why do you think we've been able to make that shift? And do you see it as beneficial?
For sure. Definitely beneficial, because the reality of it is, I say this every day, muscle is your metabolic engine. It is like your body's physical 401k, right? You would never step into retirement without money in the bank. So we shouldn't step into retirement without muscle on our body. And I think it's just we've been able to make that shift because there are platforms where women are able to speak up and say, the scale doesn't matter, your genes don't matter. And I think that there's enough of us speaking so loudly that people are finally getting it. And then when they start to lift and they start to be stronger, they're like, okay, my body looks different. It doesn't actually matter what number is on the scale. I always tell women, and this is the case, and it's really hard to hear for women, but once they can flip this switch, it's a game changer. The desired body, the look that you're going for, most women come, I want to be toned, I want to have muscles, I want to look like I work out. That weight on the scale is probably 5 to 10 pounds more than what you think it's going to be, because you have to put that muscle on the body. 1 pound is 1 pound. Muscle does not weigh more than fat. 1 pound is 1 pound. But when muscle takes up space on your body, it's taking up less space and you need more of that. So you're going to weigh a little more when you get that desired look. I tell my clients all the time, if the scale bothers you, throw it out. Nobody has to know your weight, not even your husband. Literally, nobody has to know it. If it bothers you, don't tell anybody. If the size jeans you wear bothers you, cut the tags off. You don't have to look at them. Cut them off.
This episode is brought to you by Loam, the ultimate mountain biking pass for families who love to ride together. With access to top bike parks across the country, your Loam Pass will make it easy to plan summer adventures on 2 wheels. Whether you're new to mountain biking or raising the next downhill champion, Loam has a trail for every rider. Pass holders get over 100 days of riding at more than 50 destinations across North America. Explore bike parks, shuttle services, and exclusive perks with your pass. Ski Mom listeners get 15% off with code SKIMOMS2515 at loampass.com. That's LOAM pass.com. And our discount code is SKIMOMS2515 for 15% off your pass. Hit the trails with Loam and the Ski Moms.
I guess the only person that might need to know is the binding adjuster at the rental shop, right? but that's a safe space. That's
Yes.
the only time I have to really, have my face reality of that, because you really, I think, want to be honest with that individual, right?
Right. For sure. For sure.
So this is so interesting. We've talked a lot about getting strong. I think sometimes we think this means we've got to be lifting really, big barbells at the gym. That can also be intimidating. What are we talking about when we're doing your program in terms of time commitment? You said 5 days a week. I don't know if it's an hour workout. And are we using light weights? What are
Yes.
what's
I
the equipment?
love that question, Sarah. So my workouts are 30 to 45 minutes. My target demographic is a busy woman, one that probably has a job, I have older women with kids out of the house 100%, but most of my women have kids in the house. They're working, they're taxiing their kids around in the afternoon, and they're like, I don't want to drive to the gym. I don't want to spend an hour working out. I don't have an hour in my day. So 30 to 40 minutes with equipment that can be done at home. And so this is dumbbells. All of my women have dumbbells. And I always say, start with what you have and start with what you can lift. And you're going to get stronger. You're going to have to build that collection. And if we continue to work together, that's expectation that, you're going to put some dumbbells on your Christmas list. We also use resistance bands. So if you think about a cable machine at a gym, I take all those moves that you can do on a cable machine at a gym and I modify them to be done at home. Women are always amazed. Like, Hollie, you're so creative. How did you come up with a way to do this, leg extension at home? I give all kinds of options. There is this push for lifting heavy. If you open on an Instagram, it's like lift heavy, lift heavy, lift heavy. It is relative. You do not have to get under the barbell unless that's something you really want. And honestly, as I'm getting older, I'm like, I don't really care to go out in max squat. I talk a lot about reps in reserve in my training. And we're really pushing to, if your training plan says 10 to 12 reps, after the first set, you maybe want to have 3 left. You want to push a weight. You think about a shoulder press. You want to push a weight where you can't go do 10 more right away. Does that make sense? And that might look different for me than it does for you. It might look very different for somebody that's been training for 3 to 4 years than somebody who's brand new. There's also ways to manipulate the heaviness of that. We work a lot of tempo changes, rep changes, we work with our rest time to make it so that we're not injuring ourselves and using that reps in reserve method so that we can still challenge ourselves by not having to have, a ton of dumbbells, but really just work with where you are. That's my job as your coach, as your trainer, is to work where you are on your journey and say, okay, I can look at your stats. You've been shoulder pressing 10 pounds for 6 months. It's probably time to see if you can do a little bit more.
So, Hollie, a lot of the women in our community do multiple things. We've got, still people are still spring skiing. We have people who love pickleball. We have a lot of pickleballers in the group. We have people who love golf. It's a little intimidating to me, not going to lie, when you say 5 days a week, because there's other things I like to do. Personally, I like to run. I like to hike. Give me a system that is realistic for somebody who loves the outdoors and wants to do outdoorsy things as well.
Yeah, I always say my program offers 5 workouts a week, but I always say you don't have to do them all. They're there for you if you want to, but if you have 3 days a week, then I want you to pick, if I do 2 upper body workouts and 2 lower body workouts, then I want you to pick what you're wanting to work on, right? If you're conditioning for ski season, you probably want to do 2 lower body workouts and 1 upper body workout. And then the seasons change and you're like, I really want to focus on some upper body. I want to feel a little more confident in a tank top this summer. Maybe you're going to go 2 upper body days and 1 lower body day, knowing also that when you're playing pickleball, when you're biking, you're doing those other things, you're using your legs as well. So they are getting hit. Ideally, my program has 5 workouts. I'm always honest with my people. I only do 4. I do other things on the weekends. I coach volleyball. I play sand volleyball. I like to play pickleball. I just picked up pickleball. I like to go for bike rides when it's warm. I like to go for a jog. I'm only doing my 2 upper bodies and I'm doing my 2 lower bodies, and I'm letting the weekend be fun.
And what about people who have a variety of experience with working out? So let's say we have convinced one of our ski moms that this is the summer she's going to make strength training really a priority. So we've got her. And then we've got a woman who's been doing strength training. She's just looking for a program that's a little bit more flexible. Where do those 2 women meet within your platform, and how can they find value in your programming?
Yeah, for sure. So I always say strength training truly is the universal workout for everybody. I have women from 30 to 67 in my program. And they find that meet in the middle when they're like, okay, I am new to this. I can only lift 5 pounds. I am seasoned at this. I can lift more. Same thing with like when we're progressing a workout and, they send me a message on the app and they're like, hey, Hollie, like this is feeling really hard for me. How can I modify this? I give modifications. Or, I have a woman who's having an issue with the shoulder. So I sub out exercises here and there for any injuries, any, lingering pain, any, arthritis sometimes that we see in women. And also, too, a lot of times women have not been, I hear this a lot, I can't do lunges. That's probably like one of the main things I hear all the time. Women have not been trained to properly do an exercise. The form is not there. They don't know that you can actually manipulate your body and the position of your body to make a muscle hit a different area. So take a lunge, for example. Everybody's like, it puts so much pressure on our knees. As women, we are quad dominant humans in general. We are very quad dominant. So I like to take the lunge and make it a more glute dominant lunge because the quad is still going to be there. It's still going to be there, but let's make that movement so it's more glute dominant. So it's not giving us that pressure in our knees. You should be able to do it all with the right form. It just might take us a little longer to get you there.
And since we are a Ski Moms podcast, we'd love to hear about a few of your favorite, as we can transition, I think, to talking a little more about skiing, but what are some of your favorite exercises to get ready for ski season?
Yes. So I really love working before ski season unilaterally. So anything single leg. Because a lot of times, especially as we're getting older, we start to really feel those muscle imbalances. And I feel like we really feel them when we are skiing, when we are turning, when we maybe accidentally hit a bump and we catch a little bit of air. Has this happened to you? You catch a little bit of air, you fall on one ski, and you need that stability in that one leg to hold you there. So skiing, life, all the things. I am very, very particular about making sure one day a week we are training that lower body unilaterally. So we are doing right leg, we are doing left leg. We are working out those muscle imbalances. I also like to make sure we're always including something that has balance for that reason. Being on skis, getting icy, spring skiing, it's hard. We want to also make sure that when we're lifting with our legs, we know how to properly engage our core because when we fall, we're going to need that to get us. When we feel like we are going down, what is going to keep us up is our core. Obviously, we do use a lot of quads in skiing. So I usually switch my squats to a quad dominant squat when I'm skiing, or like a hack when I'm getting ready for ski season, or like a hack squat. but I really love the focus more on legs and core. Honestly, I'm a lifter. My cardio is like in the summertime when I'm running, when I'm outside with my kids, when I'm biking, but always before my ski season. I do a little more endurance training. I do a little bit more to zone 2 cardio to kind of get that stamina up because I'm a flatlander and literally walking in my ski boots the first time to the mountain makes me out of breath. So the elevation change, so I am definitely also incorporating a little more cardio right before ski season, really for that cardiovascular as well.
I want to talk to you. You taught your kids when they were quite young, and I was just looking at some old footage of myself with my girls. The lower back requirements for young families getting their kids up and running. I was just looking at these videos and thinking like, "Oh my God, that is really hard work. Constant. You're lifting a lot of things, including your children. You're constantly picking them up." What are some tips for families who want to get their little kids out on snow? You taught yours at 2. Why did you pick those that young of an age, and how do we get there in a safe way with all of that lifting of the things and the kids?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that really focusing on form in general. In lifting, that carries over, like, from our kids, and a lot of times you think about it, if you're teaching your kids at, 3 or 4 years old even, you might have a baby still, or and, like, if you have not recovered that core properly postpartum, then it is going to hurt your lower back. So really making sure that you know how to get down, up and down from the ground with something in your arms properly is really, really important. And that core strength, breathing, a lot of times we want to hold our breath when we're in that position, when really we should be learning to like breathe properly through those positions when we have all these kids. I will say that 2 was really aggressive. But it was kind of like my kids are all 2 years apart. So it was like when my daughter was 4, my son was 2, what were we gonna do with him? We were gonna put him on skis. And then when I had a 6 and 4-year-old and then the 2-year-old, what were we gonna do with him? We put him on skis. Because my mom is a skier, she didn't wanna stay back, she wants to skate. Like, so we just put them on skis. And that, I will say that is aggressive. And also, my husband would tell you that his hip after skiing with my youngest when he was little was hurt for a little while. And I was like, yeah, because you were in that position for too long, bending down, not the right skiing form. And, probably just an overuse injury from, a weekend of skiing with a kid between your legs and, pizzaing down a mountain because you're like trying to not run into your child. So really knowing how to lift properly really carries over to when we have to do those things and our core is supporting us and we're not letting that lower back take over when we're carrying all the things, carrying the kids, picking them up when they fall down. I mean, it's hard, right? Because if you're in skis and somebody falls, you really need to make sure your body is in the right position when you're ready to lift them up. And a lot of times we don't think of that first, We think of, I got to get my kid up. He or she's crying, they're throwing a fit,
So where did you take them when you were first teaching them at 2?
Yeah, so we have this really little hill, and it's about 2.5 hours. It's in the southwest corner of Michigan called Bittersweet. And when they were little, it's tiny. There's not even really a good place to stay. One time we stayed in this hotel, and I was like, yeah, we're not doing that again. And so we would leave at like 6 a.m. The kids were little. They get up at 7 anyways, 6:45. We would get up at 6 a.m. and we would drive up on a Saturday or Sunday morning. They weren't in sports yet. And we taught them how to ski on that little hill up there. And then we would, stay till whenever they were done and we would drive back home.
We have been big advocates that you do not need huge vertical to teach kids to ski.
Mhm.
And look, if you've got the money to put 3 kids in Vail's group lessons or snowmasses, bless. And, we wish you all the best. But there are definitely options. And with those ages that you're talking about, 2, 4, and 6, it quickly escalates. So if you're trying to teach them how to master the French fry and pizza wedge, finding those local options makes a ton of sense. Since you are not skiing year round, you don't live in ski areas, what do you do with the gear and the fact that you're constantly cycling through snowsuits
Oh,
and
yeah.
helmets? How do you
I love
tackle
that
that?
question. I love that question. So I'm a huge fan of Poshmark. I buy a lot of ski gear, snow pants, coats, whatnot off of Poshmark. Honestly, we're now to a point where my daughter's 12 and a half. And if I want a new coat, she can have my old coat. I just got new boots a couple years ago. And my husband was like, well, she can have your old boots. So that's good. My boys are 22 months apart. So my middle son, I will usually buy him something new, or if I find something on Poshmark that has tags on it, I'm okay spending a little more money because his stuff gets passed on to the next. And a lot of times, this is really crazy. We actually have a good community of friends in Indiana who ski, believe it or not. A couple years ago at spring break, we had 5 families at Copper and 14 kids. We had some of our really good friends, their kids wanted to ski, and the adults are not skiers. So, and they weren't planning on skiing. So they were like, but we'll go with you on spring break because you're, I want my kids to learn from you two, me and my husband. So we taught their kids how to ski. They did 1 day of ski lessons, a ski school at Copper. And then we had a powder day. We had 14 or 15 kids that day. It was going down this mountain. We could hardly see anybody. We were constantly counting. But with that being said, there's older kids and we're like, my middle son is wearing a coat from, some other kid, that's from our town that also skis. So just kind of passing it on. And, we have a really great ski shop in our city. It's about 35 minutes from where we are, and we go to their resale every fall. And if kids need skis, we trade them out, boots, but we don't rent. Our kids do have, everybody has their own stuff because usually we can get 2 seasons out of them and it ends up being cheaper than renting because we're really really lucky for living in the Midwest. We do get a good amount of ski days a year, so it is cheaper for us to buy.
Well, I hope you were treated to dinner after all of those free lessons and somebody bought you sort of an unofficial guide cap. And also, I want to say one of my favorite professional ski racers, Sarah knows I have a crush on him, Nick Gepper, started in Indiana. I think he started skiing at True North.
Yeah, which is now called Perfect North.
Perfect North.
And there's also an Olympic ski jumper, Justin Shanafeld, who he's actually from Fort Wayne, my hometown. And he actually started skiing at Perfect North as well. And now he's out in Utah.
So we just think that the Midwest moms need to give themselves much more credit and no apologies. I think that you all are doing just as much for the ski industry and ski families as moms from Summit County. So please celebrate yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think you had shared when you introduced yourself to us that your family has taken the plunge and went skiing in the Swiss Alps. So we want to hear more about that.
Literally, even just thinking about it gives me goosebumps because that is how incredible it was. So my husband had said, I turned 40 last year, so 2024, and he had said, what do you want to do for your 40th birthday? And for his 40th, he crossed off a bucket list. We we whitewater rafted the gully in West Virginia. It was brutal. I will never do it again. I mean, I think I still have PSD from it. So I'm like, I'm not doing that, but I'm 100% doing a bucket list trip. And so I said, I want to ski the Alps. That's it. That's what I want to do. And, I'm not very good at letting him take over. So even though it was my birthday, I planned the whole entire thing. And we skied half of our time on the Italian side and half of our time on the Swiss side. So we did Slovenia and we did Zermatt. And it was just incredible. I love Europe. I love to travel in Europe. It's my favorite place to travel, and kind of marrying that European travel with skiing. The culture was just unreal. And also, like, I know all these, Instagram bloggers are like, it's so much cheaper to ski in Europe. Like, yes, the lift ticket is cheaper. The lunches were 100%, cheaper. We got, full traditional homemade pasta meal for lunch for cheaper than we get chicken tenders and french fries in Copper. Like, we were in Deer Valley a couple weeks ago and our lunch was like $120. And I was like, not again. I was like, we were in Italy eating real Italian food for like 70 euros. This is ridiculous. But you're getting that. That is cheaper, but it is very expensive to get over there. It's very expensive to stay and to do
Yeah,
things.
that's when
Yeah.
you're really questioning that third child, when you got to get that bonus flight.
Well, also too, what people don't realize is, skiing in Europe is a different beast, right? Like, these ski resorts aren't like what we're used to here. And that was kind of hard for me. We're used to like having a condo, and a lot of places just have these, hotels, and we're a family of 5. So therefore we automatically need 2 rooms because these European hotels are tiny. You know what I mean? So when we landed in Slovenia, I did not actually know how I was going to get to Zermatt. I just knew we had a place there. I didn't know. I was trying to ask questions. It was the only thing I did not have figured out from the Facebook group that I utilized to plan this trip. I had no idea how I was going to get over there. Some people were like, you can take the tram, the like gondola over. It's like an hour ride. But my husband was like, but how are we going to carry our luggage? And I was like, I don't know. We're just going to figure it out when we get there. Like, that's kind of how I approached it. And, then some days it's shut down because of the wind from the Italian side to the Swiss side. So, about a day in, I said, I still don't know how we're going to get over there, but we need to be in Switzerland because this reservation ends and that one begins. And our best friends live in London and they were meeting us on the Swiss side for that last half of the trip. So I just called the guy that had picked us up from the airport and drove us to Slovenia. And I was like, hey, I have a question. Has anybody ever asked you to only take their luggage? He was like, no, but I guess I could do that. And he's like, but I can take all of you. And I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to spend 5.5 hours in the car when I can ski there. Like, I don't want to spend my day in the car. I want to be outside. And so he was like, sure, I'll take it. And I mean, it was expensive, but whatever, bucket list, YOLO, like, it was my bucket list trip. And it was cheaper than us all sitting in the car as well, by the way. And so the thing that we didn't realize was, our luggage had to go through customs. So he had to pass our luggage off to a Swiss gentleman to then drive it from there, one of his colleagues, because he couldn't just come across the border for the heck of it. So we had to, copy our passport, sign this stuff. My husband's like, Hollie, there's no way we're getting our luggage back. That's what he said. And I go, you know what? It's okay. Like, if we don't get our luggage back, we're in a ski town. We just wear the same thing to dinner every night. It's not that big a deal. I'll go get a sweater, wear it with my, leggings that I wear under my ski pants. Not a big deal. We took a backpack. We put our computers in, our passports, and our phones just in case our luggage got lost. We air tagged it. We got off the slopes that day, pulled up to our chalet in Switzerland, and lo and behold, our luggage was there. I have the best video. I was like, it worked. Like, you want to trust humanity again? Try that. Like, it was amazing.
Was there anything that you were super glad that you brought with you because you weren't going to be able to find it there? Maybe it was like a particular lip balm, though the Europeans have excellent skincare products.
No, I don't. I'm a minimalist packer. So I'm kind of like, when you're carrying 5 sets of skis and boots and helmets, like you don't have enough room for anything else. And I just don't like to unpack. So I don't want to pack a lot. So believe it or not, most people will not believe this. We took our family of 5 to Europe for 10 days. Every kid had a carry-on. So that was 5 little carry-ons. And we had 1 bigger suitcase. And that was it. And plus our 2 ski bags. And so we got 5 sets of boots, 5 helmets, 5 sets of skis, and all of our clothes for 10 days in that. So I'm very big on like, you just rewear things. And, if you're wearing, my boys like have these like Under Armour half zips. I actually think it's a fleece. I actually think it was from their golf line. And I was like, that's what they wear, if it's going to be colder, and then they wear that to dinner because it has a collar on it. And if we go to a nice dinner, then they can wear that too. So I'm very big on, re-wearing, packing things that can be worn again. Also, that's kind of what I love about skiing. Like, you know what? You can show up in leggings and a sweatshirt or a sweater and throw on a hat and be okay. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, this is my vacation. I don't want to like think about what I'm wearing. I don't like that in general. I mean, I'm a trainer. I live in activewear. So fashion's not my thing. So I'm very minimalist in the packing. So I don't know if there's one particular thing that, I always operate on under well, if we forget it, we can just buy it.
Well, I do wish, before we wrap up, I do want to make a note about Hollie's arms. I am really excited that the Twiggy arm thing is out. And I'm so excited when I get on maybe Instagram knows what to give me, but I now get women with these like strong arms.
Oh,
And I think we just kind of need to continue normalizing that is what a ski mom looks like, that she looks strong, both in leg and arm, and we should be wearing all of the sleeveless things
yes,
possible to show
yes,
that
yes.
off.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
I love that you're over 40. I would have never guessed.
41. Yes, 41.
So as our time is winding down, we love to talk about après ski as it's our one consistent in all of our podcasts. Do you have any traditions or maybe some new ones you picked up in Europe that what après ski looks like for you and your family?
Well, I know this question came up and I'm like, I'm the lamest après ski person, I think. So I don't know that they're going to like my answer because my children will ski until the very last lift chair, right? So I do feel like it sometimes looks a little bit different for us. And I don't drink alcohol just by choice. So après ski does look different for me, but I so appreciate all these mountain towns that now have these non-alcoholic, or I don't even like the word non-alcoholic, alcohol-free beers that are really good beer, because I do love a good beer. I just don't want the alcohol in it. So I always tend to find a place that has the alcohol-free beer. And then I'm there for a little bit, or I'm back at, wherever we're staying and in our hot tub and get a little freshened up and then, après ski, with the older folks at 5 o'clock at our dinner time, our dinner reservation is really what we like to do. I love Downhill Dukes. I will say this at Copper. That is my favorite, like après ski bar. They have that outdoor bar and they have all those big tables and the big like couches, like the outdoor furniture with the fires in there. And I love because that's also a place that I'm okay with telling my kids, like, you can finish skiing. I will be right here. I'll have your pretzel bites when you're ready, and I'll be here. And I just like to meet new people. That's part of what I love about skiing. So I love to just, mingle. If it's a town that we're skiing that has, more of that mid-mountain village where you can kind of meet people and mingle, that's what I kind of like to do. I know I'm lame. I feel like I was like, I'm going to be the lamest one on this question.
No, no way. And we've had a variety of people who don't drink either. So I think that these are great. I like Athletic Brew and Rescue. Those are two of my favorites. Do you have anything specific that stands out in the NA beers?
Yeah, I love the Athletic Brewing. It's their Belgium wheat beer. It's a lot like a Blue Moon. And at first it was harder to find. You had to order it, but now more places are having them. When we were in Deer Valley just a couple weeks ago, we stopped at the grocery store, and the amount alcohol-free beer in that section in Deer Valley was amazing. And my husband and I were like, this is awesome. And I have to tell you, my kids also, if we're just going, this is funny. I'm a trainer, and I'm going to tell you my kids' guilty pleasure. You're going to be like, I can't believe you let them eat this. It is a total ski thing. So my kids, if we're finishing up skiing, they love a Pop-Tart. Like, it is their favorite thing. And it's because in 2020, we went skiing last minute in Pennsylvania. And that was during COVID. Pennsylvania had gotten dumped on, and we noticed it, and we ended up finding this ski in, ski out last minute that somebody had canceled because they had gotten COVID. And we just packed up, literally. It was like, oh my gosh, we found this. They just got dumped on. Let's go. And we packed up, and I had a pot of vegetable soup, and I was like, I'm just going to take this. And I just duct taped it and stuck it in the car. Well, when we got there was no restaurants open. We didn't even go to a real grocery store on the way there because we were like, surely there would be things around, and there wasn't. And there was this just grocery store that had nothing. And my husband comes back, and he brings these Pop-Tarts. He's like, well, we got Pop-Tarts and vegetable soup. Literally, that's what we ate for 4 days. And so now my kids, and it's funny because they didn't really eat them for breakfast. It was their thing. It was warm and gooey after they were done skiing. It is their après ski thing. And every time we ski, that's the first thing they go to at the grocery store. They're like, we got to get our Pop-Tarts.
Do they get the icing ones with sprinkles, or do they go for the ones that are truly cardboardy with no icing?
Oh, no, they go for the ones with sprinkles. We have cookies and cream and s'mores. Those two kinds every time. And this year when we were at Steamboat for Christmas, we ran out and I had to Instacart more.
Well, it's kind of purchased Pop-Tarts in a long time. It's good to know that they're still kicking.
Keep them in business.
So, Hollie, is there any last note that you want to tell moms who are, waiting for the right invitation or the right thing to pop up in their feed to make that commitment to fitness?
Yeah, just do it. The longer you wait, I always say the longer you wait, number one, the harder it's going to be for sure. And the longer you wait, you're delaying the results, and not just in the mirror. You're delaying feeling better, being okay with your body, being more confident, and just being able to move well. I saw something the other day that said 38 is officially mid-age, midlife, and I just kind of want to be like, what are you waiting for? Your life can feel easier, feel better. You can have more energy when you just commit to, it doesn't have to be my program. Commit to intentionally moving your body and bettering yourself and getting stronger. Muscle, it matters. I say this all the time. It matters for obviously our body and the way we look, but the connection too with muscle and brain health, the more research that is out there is you have to be intentional when you are in midlife to maintain that muscle. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. And the deterioration of losing that muscle is very fast. And, maintaining it through using it and also, intentional nutrition to keep it on your body is important.
Well, Hollie, thank you so much. I'm feeling very inspired to sign up for a class at my gym and get stronger. Where can we follow you, find out more, check out your program?
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I'm Hollie Nicholson Strong on Instagram. That's where I post the most. And my name is spelled, I always have to say this because my name is spelled with an IE, not a Y. So it's Hollie Nicholson with an IE Strong. And you can find me on Instagram, or you can check out my website, which is also hollynicholsonstrong.com.
Hey, ski moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing.